You got people that make really good decisions quickly. And then you have other people who question every decision they make. Why is that? Yes, I talk a lot about confidence here, but I want to take it a bit deeper than that. It's self trust. And once self trust breaks down, it has the ability to change the way you live your life, how you think, how you see the world, how you feel, how you show up. But here's what I want to tell you: self trust isn't broken down all at one time, and it rarely happens all at once. It can happen quietly over time in moments. And, those moments to where you tell yourself you're going to get out of the bed early and you don't do it. You're going to start something next week or tomorrow and you don't do it. Tomorrow comes, next week passes, comes and goes. You tell yourself you'll have that conversation or you'll send that email, whatever it is. I use these kind of same examples, but you get the point. But instead, you literally avoid it or don't do it. And, in these moments, these broken promises don't seem like much, and whether the first or second, third or fourth, or maybe, okay, maybe by the fourth or fifth one, maybe. But over time, you see what I'm saying? It compounds. And throughout these broken promises, the shift happens, and your ability doesn't change. But here's the big point: the relationship with yourself can change silently and quietly, and it can creep up on you. So, one of the biggest misconceptions about confidence, and I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again, is something that people are automatically born with. You just come out of the womb with it. Big misconception. It's not. Confidence is a byproduct of trust, hand in hand. I don't believe you can have one without the other. Because think about somebody you trust in your life. Why do you trust that person? Why you believe in them? It's probably because one of the reasons that they've probably been very consistent with you in your life. What they do matches the words. And that same idea, can be applied to the relationship you have with yourself, the relationship we have with ourselves. Because all those moments, and when your actions don't match your intentions, or your brain and body remember that. And it's a process. But your body's always noticing and keeping score. If you haven't read that book, you got to check it out. The Body Always Keeps Score. Little plug. And that can be dangerous because that question starts coming, okay, can I really believe in what I'm saying right now? Can I really believe my words? And that's self-doubt. And self-doubt can be very, very, very damaging. And once that question, can I count on myself, creeps in your mindset enough, it can become your identity. And that's when the cars can really begin to fall, and everything can become exponentially more difficult and challenging because you're no longer certain. You go from maybe being sure to very unsure. You hesitate before moving forward on anything. I've seen that. You overthink decisions, you're outsourcing your opinion or advice to everyone else, which is okay to have, to have individuals you speak to get advice. That's fine. But here's the reality as well. Your ability hadn't changed. You're still a capable person that's been inside you the whole time. But since the confidence is lower now, you've just lost that judgment and you've lost that belief in your abilities. And to the outside looking in, it could look like that person's really indecisive, but underneath the surface, I believe it comes back to broken self-trust. And this pattern I've seen from individuals in every walk of life. It don't matter where you're from, what you look like, how much money you make, how much you don't make, smart, not so smart, successful, nice clothes, bad clothes, bright smile, not so bright smile, hard working. It don't matter. It can happen to anybody. Nobody's immune to it. So it's not about needing more information. It really what we need is, or these individuals need to focus on repairing the relationship that they have with themselves. Needs a little work. And here's a big mistake I see a lot of people making. They think the big answer to all this is making this huge, grand promise with themselves. And you know what? I'm going to change it all. I'm going to wake up and change. I'm going to do it. But that, self-trust isn't built through making huge promises, but it's really about keeping those promises. And those promises can be small. They can be small, so small that it may even seem big. Make it so small that you laugh at it. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to eat some yogurt. I'm going to say hello to my neighbor. Because keeping that word is really how big change can happen, even when it feels inconvenient. Am I going to actually do what I said I'm going to do? And that messaging that you send yourself is that, you know what? I can become somebody that I can rely on. And that's how self-trust is rebuilt and is built. One small commitment at a time that you follow through on that you follow through with. So if you've been doubting yourself, whether it's now, last week, your whole life, for 3 months, I want you to ask yourself a different question right now. Don't ask yourself, why don't I believe in my abilities? Or why don't I believe in myself? Don't ask that question. Here's what I want you to ask. Ask, what evidence have I been given myself? Ask that. If you need to write it down, go ahead and do it. Because like we all know, self-trust, it's not really, you would think it's built by kind of thinking differently, but truly it's built by acting how you acting differently. And that's, one kept promise, one decision, one moment that you follow through on a regular day while nobody's looking. That's how it's built. And every time you do that, every time you lock in and keep that word with yourself, or you accomplish that task, you actually become somebody who believes in their own abilities and you believe in your own word. And that's one of the first steps to closing that gap in time with yourself between the person who you are now and the person you're hoping to become. I'm Darren. Forward.